Well, welcome, Kate.
Thank you,
Welcome.
Renee. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here with us and just sharing this space with you is amazing. Wow, you have led quite the life.
I've done a few things. I have a few friends that they say, "My gosh, how old are you?" And I tell them, and then they're like, "How old are you? 7 lifetimes in one lifetime?" And I said, "Oh, I just have a few things to do on this planet." And so that's kind of how I look at it. You know, we,
Beautiful.
we
Well,
all show up.
how did you get into the healing arts?
I was first exposed when I was a kid. My mother was a registered nurse and she was looking for alternative modalities as my father got in a car accident. He had a couple of fused vertebrae, a lot of pain, and was not able to alleviate the pain through the various surgeries. So she exposed me to acupuncture, acupressure, brain gym, EFT at a very young age. I was one of those kids, where people trade lunches at school. I was not one of those kids. They're like, wait, what is your lunch? And I'm like, oh, it says safflower butter and honey sandwich with plantain chips. That was not like now that's cool. Back then, not cool.
Absolutely, absolutely. Wow. So you were exposed to them at a very young age, but you've gone through and seen so many different modalities. Maybe name a couple of your favorites.
So a couple of my favorites are ones that I still do. So I still do quite a bit of brain gym. And I first learned that like after I left home, as well as Rapid Eye and Silva Method. These are some of my go-tos. And then, I'll pull in things from shamanism. I'll pull things in from other neuroscience and other techniques because most people don't understand our brain really is a supercomputer. And sometimes you need to defrag that. Sometimes we got some viruses going on. We've got some programs. We've got to deprogram that and reprogram that. And we've got to reboot the system. And if we start to see our body and our brain as a computer, sometimes there's that unprocessed trauma that we just have to defrag out. And it doesn't have to be hard, it doesn't have to be difficult. It can be rather easy and it can be kind of fun where you're like, you know what? I'm going to dump, I'm going to defrag, and then I'm going to reprogram for something even better than this. And so, some of my favorites are that because I can use that within a combination and pull in other things based upon the needs of the client that it's like wherever you're at, we'll take you there, we'll deprogram, reprogram, and then uplift you to where you would like to be.
Wow, that's incredible. It sounds like you've almost created your own method, your own modality.
In a lot of senses, yes. So I've done some heavy studying of sacred geometry and some other things. And one of actually my teachers, I learned craniosacral from her and advanced craniosacral as well as reflexology. She said, Kate, you're going to get to the point where basically you'll meet with a client and you just pull from every single thing and you're like, here you go. And then you double check, is there anything else? And then you pull in. So, and it's literally what she told me, gosh, almost 10 years ago, that's what's happening. And so it doesn't really matter what someone has if they're like, oh, I've been through extreme trauma and torment. That's fine. If you have a desire to heal, you can.
Oh, that's beautiful. Wow. And you mentioned that the Silva method is kind of your primary go-to.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little more about that?
Yes. So one of the reasons I got into Silva Method is, I learned a lot about trauma, how it affects the brain and the body, and then how to deprogram and reprogram. But then I thought, what if we could prevent the trauma from even happening? What if someone's intuition was so in tune, so aligned that they never came across those horrific events? What if they could prevent those horrific events from even happening? And then that's where Silva Method comes in. Silva Method, it is an excellent program. I'm a certified teacher. I teach in California. I also teach online and I teach in Utah. And as a result, when you activate your intuition and your clairvoyance, you have access to more information than the average population. Over 90% of the population do not use their intuition. I'm talking about worldwide here. So if you're using your intuition, you have access to more information and you can make better choices. And so I started teaching that. And then I started teaching kids how to activate their intuition so they can read with a blindfold on. Why? Who cares? Kids, they can then pick up with their intuition, their vibes, the frequency. That person's safe, this person's not safe. I can then speak up and say, Mom, I don't feel safe with this person because of XYZ. Please don't have this person babysit me. And that information becomes so helpful because then you can prevent incidents that shouldn't happen and you don't want to have happen. You can literally prevent trauma from occurring. But a lot of people just don't know what they don't know. We're all born with an activated intuition. And by the age of 8, most people are deprogrammed. They're programmed out of their intuition and using it. And so one of the reasons that I love it so much is because let's activate that intuition. If you already have some, perfect. It'll take you where you're at and it will heighten it and it will get better. And the more that you practice, the more you actually employ the techniques, you get better, better, and better. I have very strong clairvoyance, as we were talking about before we recorded. I also help out, with missing persons cases. And I have very clear, strong clairvoyance, and it's used for a purpose of betterment, for helping. Everything that I do, it is not to harm anyone or to hurt anyone. When I teach someone, it's may the best for all involved occur. I don't do wrong. I don't do evil. I don't do ill will. Like, no, thank you. That's it. I'd rather put out a lot more betterment and a lot more good. It's the same with Silva Method. It's the same as I help activate intuition in people and help them activate and develop their clairvoyance. And it becomes a lot of fun because if you're driving on the freeway and you have a flash or an insight, you're like, I got to get off on this freeway exit. And then you see everything happen. You're like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And so,
Right.
That even just happened to me last week. It happens quite frequently where I'm driving. It's like, get off now. Like, I'm going to get off that freeway. And it's just that intuitive hit. It's like, thank you so much for this information. And you keep going on your merry way. Well, that's why I love it. In just 4 days, you can activate your intuition. And then by you just using it, it makes your life so much easier. And I'm like, I think we need some more ease, please, on this planet.
So it's 4 days to learn how to work with your intuition. Is that?
Yeah. So I teach the Silva Method 4-day immersion. And so literally for 4 days, we go through, you learn over 20 tools. We do over 20 meditations, and you're learning how to employ it, what to do, how to use these tools in a step-by-step proven methodology that's evidence-based. And that's one of the things I love it, because people are like, I teach intuition. I'm like, well, how do you do that? And they can't tell you. I can tell you exactly how I do it. I can tell you exactly what happens over the 4 days. And out of all the students that have gone through, everyone has the same results. And then after the class, it's just up to you to practice it. If you choose not to practice it or put it on the shelf, that's on you. However, I also do, once someone takes a training with me, they have access to a live Silva Graduate program every month. And that's free. It's just part of the training. You also have access to a complimentary meditation every month. So it's, hey, it's here. If you would like the support, you have it. And then for me, like, I meditate 3 times a day minimum, 15 minutes a day, 3 times a day. They're like, why? I'm like, are you kidding me? Our brains are so amazing and we can create whatever we desire. But the vast majority of people, they're in default programming. They're creating what is the culmination from their conception to now, which a lot of times is not awesomeness. So in the Silva 4-day, you can shift all of that.
Wow. So anyone can do this. You don't have to already be clairvoyant or anything like that.
You can start from
teach
scratch with
anyone.
nothing.
Wow, that's amazing. What if I have like ADD or ADHD?
That's actually really helpful because you are going to learn how to use more of your brain. So what I teach people is most people hang out literally in one part of their brain. They don't ever cross over the corpus callosum. They don't employ both sides of the hemispheres of their brain. They don't use the right side. They don't use the left side. They usually just hang out in one. They don't use the front and they don't use the back. What I teach everyone in the 4-day is how to use your entire brain, the right, the left, the front, and the back. And I'm like, wow. So a lot of times people experience that they're kind of tired after the 4 days. They're like, I didn't know. I'm like, well, you're flexing muscles that you probably never used before in this capacity.
So what is the benefit of using your intuition daily? I mean, you said driving down the freeway. And yes, we've all had that, oh, I should get off the freeway, and then you hear about an accident. Everyone's had that once, or at least once in their life.
Yeah.
But what is it about using your intuition daily?
Well, when you use your intuition daily, you can use your intuition to create. You can choose to create what you desire. You can use your mind to do that. Your intuition can give you the heads up beforehand. Your intuition can tell you, it's best to go straight or left or right. Your intuition can say, you know what? It's not so good to meet with this person. You can use all your different clairs if those are activated. Maybe you have the clair knowing, the claircognizance, where you're like, something doesn't feel right. I don't know what that is, but something doesn't feel right. Have you ever walked in a room and you're like, someone just had a fight? Have you ever had that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you feel it. Your body's like, I don't know what happened, but something happened. Right. Well, when your intuition is activated, you will feel that, know that, sense that, and then be able to make another choice too. So you can use it at work. You can use it, in your work meetings. One of my students took the 4-day and then she went to work. She was in a conference room with literally 5 of her colleagues. And she was sitting there because she heard their thoughts. And she was freaking out, like, I know I just took this class, but she was like, I can hear the ones like, one got in a fight with her husband. The other one was like, oh my gosh, why do I have to be in this meeting? The other one was thinking, I'm so hungry. When is lunch? And the other one was like, I've got so much to do. How long will this meeting last? And so she called me after work and was like, I didn't know what to do. And I said, it's all information. There is nothing wrong with what happened. You received information. That's clairaudience. Well, what do you do with that if you're conducting a meeting? They're like, okay, everyone, thank you so much for coming. I'd like for you to, we're going to focus on this now. So you're hearing all their thoughts of they're not in that meeting. They're not present. You bring them all back to the present on what you're going to do in the action items. Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Okay, we've got to make this decision. Let's go ahead and get it taken care of in the next 10 minutes. Okay, here's the choices that we have: 1, 2, or 3. Person A, do you choose 1, 2, or 3? Person 2. So you bring them all back to the present moment. You get what you need done in the meeting, and then you dismiss it and you move on. So using your intuition in that way, it can really help you create greater in your life, become more efficient and more effective in your communication.
Well, as well as, knowing if somebody's hungry or if they need water or something, you can address that right up front in the meeting, and they're going, oh, wow, I am hungry. And she said it's only going to be 10 minutes. Let's get on it. I can eat in 10 minutes. So I'm going to think about what you're doing. So that is incredible.
It's so
wow.
helpful.
So is that
thing?
What,
yeah.
Is that
if someone has to go to the bathroom, you're like, my gosh, we'll take a little pause. Time out. It's time for a bio break. We've been in back-to-backs. Bio break. Everyone take a 5-minute. We'll come back and restart. That's helpful information.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And is that what makes Silva different from other mindful practice, other meditations or anything like that?
I would say it does, because it's evidence-based and it's proven. So this has been around. He first launched it in 1944. And then he took another 20 years to do all this research to show. And then as you practice, you actually have to use the tools. You can come to the 4-day and it will definitely help you. But if you don't use them, you lose them. So it's really about practicing, and it's about employing the tools, and it's about creating greater with that. So, and again, you're using the tools to create greater in your life and may the best for all involved occur. But again, if you come to the 4-day and you're like, oh my gosh, it's so awesome, I got this, and then you go home and you don't do anything with it, it's like, well, that's a bummer for you. For me, it's just really fun that it's like, hey, I was able to create this. And then what else would be fun to create? I'm going to use my different tools and my mind, the right and the left and front and the back, to create what I actually would like to experience in this life.
Right. Well, and it sounds like you have all these opportunities for people to follow up and continue to practice. Even if Absolutely. They don't practice on a daily basis, they're at least practicing twice a month with you. And, over time, I would suppose that would still build. Is that right?
Yeah. And so the thing is, one other thing that I do if people are like, hey, I need a little bit more support than that, I do a monthly book club. So every Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Pacific to 8:30 p.m. or 8:45 p.m. Pacific, we are reading a different book, and there's 2 live meditations during that. And you get to experience that. And it's a whole community of people specifically who are looking to up level, to create greater in their lives. And so it's a lot of fun. And so we just have a blast. So if you're really wanting to up level and you're like, I need more support, I do a book club, and you don't have to have read the book. You can read it or not. You can just come and participate and be like, I just want to do the meditations. And that's great. I have some people out of the country. They're like, I can't be there live. It's in the middle of the night. So they'll get the recordings and they'll do it with us, after the fact. So I do book club. I also offer individual sessions. So if you're like, I'd like even more support, maybe they went through some intense trauma. They're like, I want to clean up some things in the subconscious, or, I call it under the hood. They want to clean that up. And then it makes it a lot easier to create. But if you have something in the subconscious that's adversely affecting you, as we both know, if it's in your subconscious, it affects you whether you like it or not. Because
that's right. It affects your body. It affects everything, your body, your reactions to the world, to any general conversation. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. And how can people reach you?
So one of the best ways to reach me is you can go to my booking site. It's heal.me. And that is HEAL.me/Silva Method West. Or they can also go and sign up. If they want to do the free meditation, they are welcome to do that. I love having new people come, because when you learn to use your mind in a way that supports and creates what you desire, it's a game changer for all of life. And so that website is subscribepage.io/comp. Or if you're interested in signing up for the 4-day, you can also do that too. I'm also doing an introduction to Silva Method. A lot of people are like, wow, that's an investment for the 4 days. So I do an introduction where you can come and check out. I do 2 live meditations. You understand the neuroscience behind it. How does it work? Why does it work? It's evidence-based and it's proven. So that means, wait, it actually works? Yes, it actually works. If you are there for the full 4 days and you are doing all the meditations and all the tools, you will get to day 4 and be like, oh my gosh, I can remote view. Oh my gosh, I can remote heal. And a lot of people, they'll come in and they'll be like, I don't know about this. And I'll say, if you do every single one and you show up and you do every single tool, by day 4, most people are surprised. Like, I actually do know this information. Like, where they start working, we call it case working, where you're doing remote healing on people. And they're like, I know things about this person. I'm like, yes.
I know the secret.
Yeah. And it's the intention, because when we're doing case working, we're doing remote healing on people. It's made the best for all involved occur. We're doing betterment. We're creating betterment. We're not doing ill will. We don't do harm. Like, I don't do that. If you do that, I don't know what that is, but that's not me. So, but point being, there are so many options. If you would like to create better with your mind, with your heart, with your body, with your life, I found that Silva Method is extremely effective. And because once you learn how to use this, you're like, I wish someone would have taught me this in preschool. Like, how am I just learning this now? So,
right.
Yeah, it's so if people are
beautiful
interested in that, they can go to subscribepage.io/Silva Method. And if you're like, oh, I don't remember all the ones, you can always go to heal.me/Silva Method West. And so you'll see me. I have a discovery call available, and then all the different offerings from book club to the introduction to Silva Method, because that's coming up on Sunday, December 15th, 3 p.m. Pacific. So if you just want to try it out, come try it out. And then if you decide you want to do the 4-day, whatever you paid for that. So if you paid the $155, that will apply to the 4-day in December. So December 28th through the 31st. So I'm like, come try it out. It's a lot of fun.
But that's a great way to bring in the new year, right?
Well, that's one of the key things. I had several clients say, I'd really like to create 2025 be the best year ever. And I said, okay, I'm going to take that as a challenge. Let's do a 4-day right before. Come with all your intentions. What are your objectives? What would you like to get out of 2025? What does that look like for you? And write them all out and then bring them with you to the training. And specifically, I always ask for people to have one main intention. I ask for all 3, but one that you're going to focus on, because that is where you can start to see some energy shift with all of that as you focus on it.
Beautiful. And then just before we let you go, because we're just about out of time, is you have a free gift for everyone who's listening?
Yes. So anyone who would like to join us for the free meditation, it's every first Wednesday of the month at 7 p.m. Pacific. That is subscribepage.io/COMP. So again, subscribepage.io/COMP. And so you can go ahead and sign up for the complimentary meditation the first Wednesday of the month. And then you'll also receive immediately a meditation that you can do. I'm a big fan of meditation. It has been the biggest game changer in my life. I'm so thankful for that.
Well, Cate, thank you so much for being here today. I look forward to having you on again where we can talk a little bit about some of your yoga and your Reiki and how that's incorporated in your business. But for today, thank you so much for sharing about the Silva Method with us and all the other modalities that you do as well. And we will talk with you again.
Okay, thank you so much, Renee. It's been a pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.